Happy Think That Thursday, as I casually throw this blanket out of the way. Hi, everybody. How are you feeling? Happy Think That Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you being a part of the conversations. So on today's Think That Thursday, I really want you to we're going to get into the concept of boundaries, right? What boundaries really look like when you set them. Hey, when you hold on to them, when you actually like respect your boundaries yourself, because that's the biggest part of all of it. Like there's a lot. So there's been a lot of conversation, which hi. Yeah, so there's been a lot of conversation this week, especially like regarding my relationship, regarding um the concept of like somebody doesn't have to put you through all the craziest things. I have seen so many, I've seen and heard and had so many conversations, spoke to so many people, about like what it means to create boundaries for yourself, actually hold on to them, the problems with that, the idea of like what happens when you don't. And then like when I say y'all, I have heard the craziest stories, right? So there's one girl, and mind you, I've lived through some of this stuff, and like I've lived through it. I've had friends that have gone through these situations. So like I kind of want to talk about that as a whole, right? Like this concept that we live through such torture, like, and it feels like it's not by choice, but it totally is. And that's hard and that's heavy. So let's lighten it up a little bit. So as I was saying, right, I've heard some of the craziest things. So one story, a woman replied to my story and she's talking to me and she's like, oh my God, like I totally know how you feel. So I was once in this relationship and it was good. Like we were dating. This man had a life and an apartment. He had a separate apartment where he would take her when they had their nights together. He brought his son. He told her that his son, his ex-wife or his wife died. He said he was a widower. He put murderous energy into the air over this woman. It's not funny. It's sad. It's crazy. Cause what? Um, he put that energy and he said that about her and he had her, they were dating, everything. She met his friends. Now that's where I always feel like this is the problem. You met his friends. His friends are grown. They could say something. Somebody should be saying something. They shouldn't be corroborating this as a thing. But it was a whole thing and she and like then I don't know what happened. Shit hit the fan. It all came tumbling down. She found out he had a wife. She was alive. She called him. That was what it is. That she called him one day when they were together, and it was like I guess too relaxed because he had gotten into the rhythm of things. And I don't know. It all slipped. So I in these situations, it's like, what could she have done? And that's how I feel about this situation. Like, what could I have done? There's nothing that I could have done to avoid the situation where somebody is really hiding all of this thing, this whole secret closet situation, right? Like, there's a situation that is closeted up in here and I'm hiding it. What could you have done? What is there to do? They're really like, you can try to vet and you can try to ask questions and you can try to do things. And like, and I'll say specifically, like in my situation, right? It really wasn't a double life. Like we're 100% not in that space, but I've seen it. I've seen it happen. And which is when we say this double life situation, right? Like somebody living a whole secret life, um, a whole just having a different situation, right? Like I've got a family, I've got children, I've got friends, I've got a household. Like you got to have the money for this one. And then two, you have to actually have like the time, the energy. People don't take care of themselves after 20. How do you have the energy to do this? People don't take care of themselves properly. You've been smoking, you've been drinking, you've been eating like crap. You've been at Applebee's every Friday. Like, how do you have the energy to live this double life? I wonder. Like, I just have the confusion. I don't know how that works. But people do it. People really live that. Like, have you seen this? Hands up in the comments, right? If you've seen like people just really living out these double lives. Now, yes, right? So it's not just me. This isn't a thing. It only happens in movies and then a couple of people that I know. I didn't think so, right? And so I do feel like all of this. This is kind of why I wanted to I made the statement that I made the other day about like shame, right? The concept of shame. Oh, I'm gonna hide this. I'm afraid, right? So the girls that if you're the person that's another woman, right? You're on the side, and this obviously works for men too. But if you're the person on the side, if there's somebody on the side, and you're just like you're ashamed that you would go on with this, then don't go on with it. Like that. I know it sounds simple, but right, I've had so many women, and it was funny too because there was a woman who commented on that post, and she was like, "Listen, don't worry about the other woman. Don't worry about that. It's about you. Focus on you." And the thing is, like, yes, I am glad y'all know this is the Stacia Show, right? Yes, I'm glad you came to the Stacia Show today. Like, this is just what it is. But she's like, don't worry about her. And it's not that I'm so much worried about her. It's just that I'm worried about y'all. Like, this was the conversation, and if you need to hear it. People need to hear it. People need to say it, right? Um, if you are not looking to be a part of, or that you, even though you like this person, you're interested in them, you're attracted to them, whatever, they're not going to give you the part of their life that you want, then you're accepting less than you should. You're pushing back on your own boundaries. You never even put them up. You never maintain that space. You never decided that this is what is required to have access to me. So this is how Jimmy, with his 6 kids and 7 baby mamas, could make you 8, right? Like this is how he's allowed that access. This is how that space comes about. And so I knew that even though, no, I don't necessarily care about her. Like, if she grows, she grows. If she doesn't, she doesn't. But if I don't talk to y'all about it, then I don't feel like I've done my job properly. One thing that came out of last week was that there were several people. I said, right, like, you can't fill a bowl with a crack in it. You can't fill a bowl with a crack in it. You can't make somebody feel good, make them feel solid if they have that hole, right? Hey, right? You can't make them feel like they're enough if they have a problem with themselves, right? This is why we say we require healing. We need the healing before we can get into like good relationships. Is it possible to find a great person while you're unhealed? It is possible. And you know what's also highly likely in that situation? You're going to hurt them. You're going to cause a problem for them. You're not going to be able to handle it. You're not going to have the right interactions with them. You're not going to build the relationship that you say you want, because you put your boundaries up. And you definitely you can't help someone heal who has to wait, what? Who has no desire to. That's a word right there, right? You can't help somebody heal who doesn't have a desire to. Now, the thing is, in relationships, like, I would always say, I will stand on it too. I have to be honest about the amazing things that came out of my relationship. I healed so much from being in this space. I healed so much from being treated nicely, from being taken out, from the consistent effort, from just from being loved on in a way that was what I like. I'm vocal. Okay. If I'm telling you, like, I want to go out, I want to have fun, I want to do these things, like, you better show up and you better be able to take care of that space. I want those things. And like, honestly, I get it. Like, the whole dumb high value man conversation takes it to a space where it's like, well, what are you bringing to the table? Listen, if you don't want to come, don't come. I'm the table, I'm the chairs, I'm the house, I'm the dinner. I know that. So if you're interested in picking that apart, this is not the conversation for you. We're not in the same space, right? So bring it back to, I know what I require. I ask for these things. I am vocal about what it is that I want. I am very clear. And if you're not giving that to me, if I'm not really interested in what you're doing, if you're not hearing me on purpose, if we're hitting a brick wall, bye. Like, that's just how that works, right? And so I feel like I've been very clear about that throughout this relationship. It's just that as I said, I know that there is shame around this situation. And so when there is shame around a situation, you don't talk about it. You don't say stuff out loud. You're fearful of what is happening. You're fearful of what people would think. You're fearful of what could happen. You're fearful of a lot of things. That fear is debilitating. That that is stressful. It causes problems in the current relationships in your life, right? So if you are not allowing yourself to just speak through and like honestly show up for the decisions that you made, you're never going to get past the point of actually keeping those boundaries, right? Because so I the example that I used before was like people keep sending me like sad music, right? And like listen, like Mary J. Blige, what is it? I can't remember her name, Elsa Ray, something like that. There's so many songs, and it's like, yo, like I feel this deep. This is a good song to like sing out right now and get it and like and harvest my emotions or whatever, grieve, all those things. But I don't feel like that. I don't feel downtrodden. I don't feel like um my life has fallen apart so much and it's so sad that like I let this happen and it's been 15 years and he cheated on me 25 times. Like, no. The reason the stories sound that bad when you get them is because the boundaries were never set in the first place. Somebody commented on one of the posts and was like, I was waiting for the Risa Tisa, who did I marry part two? And it's like, you know what? I would I like to pop off like that? Hell yeah, share the live. Share it. But that's not the situation. You're never gonna get that much drama out of me. Why? Because I'm not living that crazy ass life. Like, oh, thank you. You know, I'll be moisturizing and coconut oil and whatnot. But I just don't live that crazy of a life because I like to be settled. What I have learned with so I got divorced right before the pandemic, right at the beginning of the pandemic, really. So I had a lot of time to myself. I learned, I learned that the ways that I need to love myself will replenish me enough that I don't need to have somebody here. I am willing to let people go. Being willing to let people go, let situations go, allows you to keep your boundaries strong. If you don't, if you are like, oh, I'm so afraid, and that was what the girl said, right? Like, she was like, well, I was so afraid to lose my friendship with him. I was so afraid to lose the relationship that we had. So I never called you. I never said anything. I never reached out. And I always felt it. She said she was heartbroken from the very first picture and all this stuff. And that's craziness because, like, you're heartbroken. You've been heartbroken for years and you still let this go. You should have stopped. Why don't you love yourself enough to let that go? And that's where, like, if you are a girl who's like friend has been that girl, whew, like raise your hand because you know, right? It's so stressful. It is so stressful. It is so stressful to deal with her because you know, like she's just gonna be this punching bag person. You know, she's gonna get walked all over. He's gonna tell her something that is like, oh, just tell her something that doesn't make no type of sense. And she's going to just go with it because she wants to. And that's the part. We all do this. I believe it because I want to. I believe in it because I wanted to. I wanted this to be real. I wanted to believe this is going to happen. I wanted to believe this about this person. I wanted it so bad that I didn't care what evidence I saw. I didn't care what was happening. I didn't care how I felt day to day. I wanted it so bad in the end that I was like, oh, well, by then it'll be good. It won't. I promise you. It will not. That's how we end up in those situations. That's how those songs sound so bad because it's like, oh yeah, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, and this happened. Jesus, you need, yes, at that point, you need to be forklifted out of the road because you flat on your face. I agree, which is why I won't do it. That's it. That is exactly why I won't do it. I won't make it happen. I won't allow it to happen. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you always, always, always. Like that's right, Kareem. Like, you know, like this is the situation. Every time you let it falter, every time you step like past your own boundaries, and like as soon as somebody pushes up against your boundaries, and you let them just like gently knock it over like a cat, as oh man, it's over. It is over. It is absolutely over. We see it when we have like, especially like if you're in my age group, and especially like me, childless me, right? Like these little babies, my little honorary nieces and nephews. Oh my God, they can have anything they want. They're so cute, right? As soon as I'm like, no, they can't have candy. What do you mean they can't have candy? Like that's it. You're too cute. I want it. I want whatever you want. That's it, right? And and that's how it works with relationships, with dating. Like especially the more, I guess, the more desperate you feel, the more in need you feel, the more dire things feel, the more you feel like I'm not going to find anybody else, the more you feel yourself in those situations, the more it feels like, oh, so then I have to go with what's happening right now. I promise you, you don't have to go with what's happening right now. I want to let you know, give you an update on what's going on, honestly, in both of our lives, right? So I put it in my story. We had some conversations on Instagram, but what's hilarious is, so there are people that have now decided to slide into my ex's DMs, but I'm the only one that's talked about it, which means what? The people that slid in the DMs are my followers. Terrible people. But you know what I always say is, if you want to root around in the trash, go for it. You, Oscar the Grouch, y'all can have a good time. I'm fine. If you want to go that route, go. And then you know what you're looking out for, right? And like, and he said to me, like, it's just crazy. Like, I feel like people were watching and just like waiting for us to fall apart because they're slid in my DMs 20 seconds later. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, people slid in my DMs 20 seconds later too. So there's a few points that I have with this. One, doesn't matter what relationship you were in, somebody was waiting for you to get out of it. Doesn't matter if it was your fault that it ended. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. It doesn't matter. Somebody was like, wait a minute, come here, let me try it, right? After. And you know what you're gonna get. And so that's the thing too. I was just like, all right, well, this seems fine. If you know what you're gonna get, like, absolutely. You want to root around in the trash, go for it. Have it. That is absolutely fine. Right. And so here we are in this situation where a very public relationship. It feels embarrassing to go through a breakup. I don't know. I just don't care. Maybe it's just because I don't care. I don't know if I'm cold-blooded or if I know that I did everything. I did everything that I needed to do to feel good about making this decision, right? So when you lie to yourself about what you want, it feels bad. When you accept less than what you want, it feels bad. When you take less than what you actually desire, when somebody convinces you based on a technicality, things like that, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't sit right. When somebody gives you an answer and a response that explains a problem that you're having, it feels like this makes sense. So somebody asked here, how do you identify when you're talking to a narcissist? That there's a lot of things. There is no A, B, and C, at least not coming from me. Talk to a real therapist. I'm not that. But one really, really big clue that I have is that, like, you feel confused after the conversation. This conversation is confusing. Why are you trying to confuse me? You're trying to confuse me so you can pull the wool over my eyes for whatever, right? Like, that's absolutely what's happening here. And I felt like I was in that situation, and right. And so, yeah, right. So you're so confused by this because you're conflicted. I don't understand. I thought it was this. You said this. I know you said this. And it's intentional confusion. It is intentional confusion so that when I'm really trying to do something to you, you're like, oh, well, that has to be it. That you have to be right because I'm always confused. Or, oh, no, that makes sense. Always, right? I was a therapist. That's exactly it. Okay, right. So that feeling of confusion, like, I can't give you more talk to a real therapist, right? I can't give you the diagnosis. I can't give you all of the possible, like, steps and worksheets and levels of understanding. And hey, right, all those levels of understanding, I talk to them if you really feel like there's more depth. As far as identifying the feeling within yourself, it's the confusion. Okay, I love you too, boo. Um, right? So you've been there. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of us have. And I will say this, I have come to the point where not only have I identified that yes, people like have these really narcissistic ways and the things that they do, they are confusing. It is confusing. So they know what they're doing, but I don't know, right? So sometimes, yes, absolutely, there are some people that are attackers, right? This is a problem. But on the other side of that, I feel like um there's also the people that like because of the way they were raised, because of their experiences, their traumas, whatever it is, right? Because of the situation that they're in now, no, this is how my brain is wired. It is wired for my brain to tell you what makes sense to get you to give me what I want, regardless of the truth. The truth is not my guiding light. The truth is not what I feel is paramount. What I feel is paramount is getting to point C. I don't need B. Toss it. I don't care. I'm just going to C. Right. So, like, not that they don't necessarily know what they're doing. You're right. And sometimes they don't know because they're working through who they are. Exactly. Like, I'm not, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like it's necessarily 100% intentional after, again, some conversations that I've had. It's just a matter of like, all right, well, regardless of whether it's intentional or not, your healing has to be intentional, right? Like, your focus on yourself has to be intentional. You have to take that space for yourself. Hi. You have to set up your own rules. You have to set up your own boundaries. You have to hold on to that space. You have to do that for you. There's nobody else that can do that for you. There's nobody else that will do it for you, really. Right. So, like, in this situation, do I feel like I personally feel like they believe their own words because they're in pain, right? And that's all they can see. Absolutely, right? So again, blinded. I don't feel like there's anything else. So this is what it is. And that exactly was a quote. Like, I didn't feel like I had a choice. You didn't feel like you had a choice because you weren't allowing yourself to see beyond your circumstances, beyond your situation, right? Beyond your perspective. Think about my perspective, me being hurt, somebody else in it, them being hurt. Like, no, what I want is this. I don't care what root of lies I have to tell to get to here. And I don't care that the truth is all down here. I'm going to circumvent that bitch and we just go and get to the end. And I know it. And like, very rarely is it like fully successful. Or I would say that this is what happens. It's successful for a good long time. It's successful for a certain amount of time. And then the wheels fall off. When the wheels fall off, everything, the pieces fall apart. And, and that's just how this works. Have you had time yet to mourn this disconnection? How are you handling that? So mourning and grieving this. This was something that, thank you for bringing that up, because it's in my bullet points, right? So it's hard. I want to say, honestly, thank you for sharing. Please share the live. Always share the live. So honoring and grieving, right? Those feelings. I have definitely gone through a bit of the grief wave here already and started that process. And I understand. I got through the shock and the rage real fast. It was real fast. But coming through this like processing and bargaining, I understand that this is up and down. So when I moved, I didn't move until my grandmother, for anybody who doesn't know, she was my mother, she raised me, right? I didn't move until my grandma passed. There are ways, if you've had somebody you love or somebody in your life like that, a parent, a grandparent that you really were close to, somebody that passed, or somebody like that in your life, whatever, like that rolling pain, that happens. And I feel like that's where I'm at. And the thing is that when we are in a loss situation, right? We lost this person, they died, they passed. Thank you. My baby, I love her. When they die, they pass, it's like, well, I can't have them back, right? What am I going to go dig? Like, I can't, whatever, they are gone. The reason we come back when it's dating and it's relationships is like, oh, well, if nobody knows, I could pretend to have the life I had last week. And he's saying now, okay, well, he's going to fix it. And he said he's going to do it this time. And he puts like an inch worth of action forth. And you're like, yeah, he's really doing it. 6 months later, 3 months later, a year later, maybe like whatever it is, right? It's not it's not going to last. It's not a real change. It's not a space that is actually like significantly taken up. It's just it was a placebo. It was a band-aid for the time. And it's okay to acknowledge that space, but you actually have to acknowledge it. It's okay to acknowledge the space. It's okay. It's not okay not to. That was a confusing statement. It's fine. It's fine to say, okay, you know what? I tried it. I tried to give him a chance. I felt good about giving that chance. And again, him, her, whoever's disrespecting you, like I don't want to make it seem like this is the only way. It's just that I talk to women from a standpoint like this. But still, like just whoever, I know that they're not treating me the way I want them to treat me. I know I'm not getting what I want out of this. I know I'm being like turned around. Like I can't give this another shot. Yeah, and we get convinced to give it another shot and another shot. So like a lot of people are like, well, okay, if you're gonna give it a shot, like he has to gain the trust and he has to do this and he has to earn that and he has to prove to you that this is this. And it's just like that was the chance I gave him a year ago. Like that, and I felt fine about giving the chance at that time because I was evaluating the situation as, all right, we're changing situations right now. So the parameters of life should change. I get it. I can accept it. Let's move on from right here. That felt okay with me. If we had had that conversation out loud, I feel like that would have been fine too. We addressed it a little bit out loud, like the matter of evaluating what your relationship is at in different phases, right? So very real about that. But in that same time frame, like, all right, so now fix this. If you're lying to me, why now? No, after the move, right after the move, right? So, no. So that's the thing. I will admit that absolutely not. The whole relationship you guys saw and whatever there still is to exist out on these internet streets, no, real. All of this is real. Like this isn't that's what I feel like maybe you popped in a little late, but like this isn't the double life situation. This isn't like, oh no, this will never happen. I agree. You're wasting your time and years of your life, but question why put so much energy talking on social media about this? It's messing with your peace of mind. So I don't think so. But I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm talking about this on social media, which maybe again, you missed the beginning, right? Because I do this. I help women navigate situations. I boost women's confidence. I help people understand themselves better. This is what I do in this space. What better way to do it than show what I'm doing while I'm living it? Right? Talking about it is helpful in helping others. I've received so many heartfelt messages. I have said, so I have been a part of so many conversations. People have admitted things. Holding in stress absolutely creates disease, right, in the body. And if this makes me relatable, I am trying to be real. I'm trying to be honest. I am trying to hold this space and I don't want to fake it. And then also, right, I had a very public relationship. I can't just have a quiet breakup and like peter out of it. That's not me. I am a thug. And so that's the part, right? Like, I feel like if I was sitting here sobbing, I couldn't handle it, I couldn't have the conversations, that I wouldn't bother to do this. Y'all would get old videos of me doing yoga with some nice something over it. And then I would figure it out when I figured it out. If I thought, thank you. I am doing it. Like I am doing this. I am doing the work. I'm having the conversations. This is the part for me where I'm like, I need to say it out loud because I I need to say it out loud because these conversations are crucial, right? If you've been living, several women, not even if you, several women who have been living with the shame of being a right? Being the other woman or having been cheated on, or, and then again, like I said, these crazy situations. Because I don't know if Seisha would be able to have this conversation if that was the case. If it was like, yo, somehow he be all up on, we cuddling, all of the stuff 24/7, and then he still had 6 kids on the side out of nowhere, and I didn't even know how he have 6 kids in 3 years, you know. like, like if I was that low, if I was that heavy, if I was in that space, then maybe. And that's what I'm saying. You know, I still can't talk about my breakup without crying. You are brave and strong, sis. And thank you, first class aesthetics. Yes, like I try. I mean, I am strong, and I feel like that's the thing too. Like I'm strong, and this is okay. This is how this hit me. This is not how it has to hit you. This is not the way you need to go about the way you process your feelings here. No one has control over that but you. So you are allowed to feel it the way you want to feel it. And so many people have told me, like, so if you end up going back, like, you know, because y'all with this and this and the other, I mean, sure, if he goes to therapy and heals and has a real plan, and I get the time and space that I see fit, maybe. But that's the minimum, right? Like I'm not just going back. Um 6 million kids. I mean, for real. Um I promise you. I think if I was, like I said, if I was really like struggling with the pain of like I can't deal with this, I can't talk about it, I wouldn't. I um I yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I said, like I wouldn't put myself through this. I love y'all. I love talking to you. I love helping people understand the way the boundaries work. And then that's a boundary for me. And I feel like that's what I'm saying, right? Like I'm not a wreck from this because my boundaries were strong, because I was able to state what it is. This is where you got me fucked up. Right here. You see it? I remember it because I can call it out, because I can state it clearly, because I know, right? Because I took the time to be reflective, because um I decided, right? I decided that this is how I was going to operate, and I know that this is what it is. If I felt like I had pushed back on my boundaries again and again, then I would have the shame, right? I would have the fear of coming to you guys and being like, oh my God, this is the situation. I can't believe I let this happen. And then y'all would be like, what do you mean, sis? He was out in the streets all the time. Self-worth leads to self-preservation. I love that, right? Actually, I'm not gonna lie, seeing you speak up on this has made me stand up in my life. Just this week, this wraps around and helps her, helps ourselves. Exactly. Right. So like I really do appreciate like being able to hold this space. I love it. I love being able to hold this space. I love being able to share what's going on. I love it. And I mean that fully. Like I hope y'all really see and feel that. Like, am I gonna cry? Probably tonight after the shower. Easily. That doesn't mean sob until sunrise. That means a wave of grief hit me. I allowed myself to feel my feelings, and then I move forward, right? I'm allowed to feel my feelings. I'm allowed to be frustrated or annoyed or sad or all of those things. Like I love you too. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Like if I had this mindset at 17, 18, I could have saved myself so much time and heartache. Absolutely. I feel like I don't know why you're so determined to tell me how hurt I am, but maybe you need somebody else's page. Like you might not be for here yet. And that's okay. Again, somebody for everybody. So um the point, right? The point of those boundaries, the point of holding this space is like, yes, I I can be clear about what I want, be clear about what I'm looking for, be clear about who is allowed space in my life, because they because they act a certain way or not, because they want to to participate in my life a certain way, right? Like I said, I he was ready to give me 95%, and like he stop it. He was ready to give me 95%, and he was willing to let this other part hang out and not and not be handled and whatever, and not take care of it, not be on point with it, and I don't care. That's the part that's trash. The rest of it can go. Like, I don't care. OMG, you truly inspired me. Good. I'm so glad. I thank you, Boss Streets. I want to be able to hold that space. And it's beautiful to see that you are not beating up on yourself for anything or for how bad you feel for crying. Makes this process so much easier and quicker. No, absolutely, right? Like, you're allowed to cry. And like, so that, listen, I'm a Pisces, y'all. I got tears ready 25/8. Like, just they're right here. If I cried all the time, if I cried all the time like this, I would never do anything else. And y'all see me, I do all the stuff, right? I appreciate y'all having my it's the comments on Instagram are being so silly. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Right. So if, right, if I'm in a space where I need to feel it, like, my feelings are allowed to happen. They're important. They are valid. If I push it down, this is where the stress comes in. And then, like, so first off, if y'all have ever been to one of my yoga classes and you ended up crying on the floor in pigeon, like, I love you. That's all. I love you so much. And I'm cool with this. You're getting those feelings out because you finally gotten to that stretch of a place. I love being able to bust that open for folks on the mat. And that's why, um, I'm in a space where I can express it and I can say it. Like, I'm used to making people feel things. We're gonna have to feel them. And then you're gonna have to do the other side. Right? So, like, that's it. Nisi, you made me realize I'm not alone in my feelings and my boundaries are not too extra. They're not. Like, and well, I would believe that they're not. I don't know you. Like, we could be on different things. I'm just kidding. Like, I feel like as long as you're not asking for anything crazy, girl, nah, they're not. I love crying in pigeons. See, and people need it. People need to feel their feelings. You need to release it. I was seeing someone who was giving me 50% of himself and had to get it out and put an end to not getting all of him. Right. And now he keeps coming back, trying to keep me where he wants me. Absolutely. Right. That's exactly it. I am allowed to keep you this small. You are allowed to take this much of a crumb of my life, and you like it because you're accepting it. Nobody that actually hates it, nobody that's like, oh no, I know I deserve better than this. I know I could have better than this. I want more than this. Nobody that is making those kind of statements or decisions based on those statements is accepting this little piece of a person. Nobody. You're not. So if you do, you are, right? Like, that's the other side of it. And it's sad and it's annoying and it sounds bad to say. It's hard to say, like, to your friend as you watch them get walked over. It's hard to say to my clients when I'm talking to them about, like, and like, I don't know. It's hard to hear as well. I can't necessarily say it's hard for me to say because we're in the middle of a conversation like this, because we are figuring things out. It's not hard for me to say because I feel like it's empowering. And so that's kind of where I want to bring this together. I used to accept the crumbs. No more. I love me now. Exactly. When I told you my boyfriend won't fill up the girl, come on. Right? And that's why I said it to you. So can I tell your story? Do you mind? I am this person. If you have this conversation with me in real life, I will say it to you. And that's the thing, right? Like, that's where I stand on mine. And that makes it easy. Okay, good. So my friend here, she's in the live. We were having a conversation. The guy she was dating, it was like, all right, well, and I'm annoyed because he won't fill up the Brita, so there's no water. And like, we're yoga teachers. We need to fill up the water, right? We need to fill up the water. We need to have that full, like, it's just a thing. Like, it's a thing in this house. It's just true. When you've got like athletic people that go to the gym, you know, you need that water full, right? And so her problem was like, she was like, every time I tell him, please fill it up, like, and then it'll be empty. There's no water. There's no this, no that. And I was just like, don't fill it up. The next time, don't fill that shit up. Let him go without water. Fill it up enough for you. Put your bottle in the fridge so it's nice and cold. Move on. He gets there, there's no water. Oh, well, I guess you got to fill it. Like, that's straightforward, simple, stupid, and annoying. Because why are you 11? Right? Why are you 11? Why are you a child? Why do I have to do this for you? Why do I have to set this up for you? Fill up the damn water. I'm thirsty. This is an element. This is life. We need water. Why do I have to explain this to you like you're not grown? Like, this is where I always have these problems. And I'm like, at least, this is where we set the boundaries. I'm going to say it out loud. Hey, can we chat about this real quick? I'm not angry. I'm not mad. This situation right here, whenever you drink this water, please fill it up. It's a necessity. At that point, as far as I'm concerned, I can be as dramatic as I want. You don't care about my necessities. You want me to dehydrate and die. Do I want to believe that? Do I want to be that dramatic? Not really, right? But here we are, right? If I set this as a thing, if you know this is important, then step up to it. Bro, reminds me of when my ex used all the soap and didn't say anything or buy anything. Why are you 11? Why are you a child? What is happening here? Yes, or the last of the toilet paper, and then leaves the seat up. Jesus Christ, y'all. See what I mean? See what I mean, right? So here we are. This was a moment where she came to me. She was willing to complain about the Brita. She was willing to complain about the water, right? Where it's like, oh, this is so frustrating. This is something that actually affects me. And I think it was like because you wanted to fill it up on your way out or something before we met. Like, it was a reason that we had this conversation, right? But she just now told us about the toilet paper, right? And then resonated on the soap thing, right? And so here we are in a situation where, yeah, I did I did let this boundary go. I didn't say anything about it. I let it cross. It annoyed me and it upset me. And I should have said something. And then it got bigger. And then I did it again. I didn't say enough. I didn't do anything about how I feel. I let it happen. And this is annoying. And again, now I'm frustrated. Now I'm upset. So now when something that still feels fairly trivial happens, you're at 11. You're at 11. You passed 10. You were ready to bust. And then something stupid happened. And you were like, nah, I hate everything. Yeah. Don't let yourself get there. I know. That doesn't seem like, well, how do I not get my... Stop at the small things. Say things out loud, right? Journaling. Where did I put the journal? Journaling. Let me tell you, because sometimes you feel like, I don't feel like I can say this to somebody. I feel like it sounds crazy. Let me write it down. Let me read it back. Let me see it. I'm telling you, life-changing, right? Like the fact that we have these thoughts and it's like, it's just filling up your head. It's just bubbling up. This is also why I believe in the mat. This is why I go to the mat. This is why I'm on the mat as I need to, right? I'm feeling it in my body. I am feeling the movement. I am getting into the space. I'm allowing my body to release the tension, the stress, the anger, the whatever, right? All the things that I feel like, okay, raise your hand in the comments if ever you feel like your mind is just like ticker tape, like when they run the stocks, right? And it's just like, there's just thought. And it's just like, you can hardly like make a decision or think about your work. Like you're messing up on the things that you're supposed to be doing that you do all the time at work, right? Yes. Right? That is the feeling that you felt before, right? So those are the feelings that like when especially is ask anybody who's like a dedicated yogi, I need to take my ass to this mat. I don't care. I don't know what's happening. I need like 20 minutes minimum. Like I need to do it. I need it. And that's a real feeling. That is like this is what I do. This is why I can say, like, I can regulate myself. You too? Exactly. Right. I can regulate myself by moving and getting into my space and feeling it in my body. And now, like, okay, so now my jaw's not tight anymore because I rolled my head around some. My shoulders and my back aren't tight because I rolled my shoulders and I did some folds, right? Yoga teachers unite. But like that's it, right? And like that, I saw a meme like that like last week, and it was like, ask a yoga teacher what to do. They're gonna tell you will end up in a yoga class. Don't matter what it is. No matter what you needed help with, your teeth might hurt. And be like, did you go to yoga though this week? Don't, I mean, you can take ibuprofen, but still, like, it's just, this is it. This means so much because it's such a full body experience. This is part of the reason why, like, people are afraid to go on the yoga retreats if they don't feel like they're like a really seasoned, trained yogi. Like, I might as well be a teacher. No, you don't need to have that level of experience. I am a beginner friendly yoga teacher. Just make sure you go to the right place, right? Oh, speaking of, there's only one spot left for Cartagena. So if you want it, you better get it like tonight. I am ecstatic. And like also, right, another reason I'm so sad and filled with shame. It's been such an amazing month financially. Like my business has been booming from July. So like, I don't know, like maybe I'm just cold, but like when business is business, like yoga is definitely healing. I'm a beginner. I already feel the difference when I don't go to class. Exactly. You feel the difference when you have a rhythm of yoga in your life. Once you stop, thank you. Once you stop with that rhythm, once you break that rhythm, it's like, oh God, take me now. Help me, please. Like it's just, it doesn't feel as good. It doesn't feel like I can do it. It doesn't feel like I can get through the day as easy. And it's not just me. Like you can talk to people about this. There was a woman that came to a class a couple months ago and she was like, oh my God. Like she was like beating herself up after the class. Like, I'm so stupid. What took me so long? Why did I not come? Every time I don't come, I'm not as productive. I took the class and now and I did this and I did that and I could vacuum and she was like berating herself for how great her life was about to be in comparison to the decision she had just made the previous weekend, right? She felt the pain of that, the annoyance of that, the distress of that. And it's just like, listen, you can let that go. You can let it go on the mat. You can let it go in class. You can let it go in your house. This is why I have like my 30-minute YouTube videos, my short stuff that is just a pose or two, tiny flows, right? Like those things to kind of give you that space for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, right? And I always say, like, people who are members of my my online library, right? If you're in the library, come on, take a class. You can take any class for 15 minutes. It's just the beginning. And you sit on the mat, you roll your head around your shoulders, take, a couple breaths, maybe a couple sun salutations. That's it. That's all you need. This is not a matter of saying like, oh, every time you feel a field, you got to get on the mat for an hour and a half. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you do have to give yourself time and space to process your feelings, process your emotions, which is why having a regular practice in yourself, like just whatever it is you're sharing, you can again get into your journal. I have my gratitude journal. I feel like it is life changing. It's in my links, but it's on Amazon. You can go to your mat. You can go to the right people. You can go to therapy. There's a lot of things that like you can do to help restore you. And honestly, the more of them you do, the more of yourself you can feel like. Linda, girl, I miss New York every day. But I will be in New York this weekend, and I guess that's how it goes out. I'll be in New York this weekend. I do plan on stopping by the Black Women. I'm not running it. I'm not teaching at it, but there is an event in Fort Greene Park, Black Women's Yoga Call on Sunday. And then I will be up in the Catskills teaching at a retreat with them. That is a local retreat. Like I said, in New York, it is a what's the word? Why can't I come up with it? It's a domestic retreat. Ha! Right? It's a domestic retreat. So I'll be able to get my pizza and fixed and be able to go up there and really enjoy and have that time. And then I come back here figuring out life. And then in October here, there's still There's one spot left as well, but that's been selling for a while. There's one spot left for the October retreat here in Orlando. If you were looking for another yoga retreat, a domestic one, you just found out about the Catskills, maybe that wasn't for you, but if you're looking to have one here, you can join me here. And then, like I said, there's one spot left for Cartagena that the second to last one sold while I was just cleaning up and getting packing earlier. So if you want that last one, make sure it's you. That's all I gotta say. And oh, do we think I'm moving back? I do, honestly. I think that that's about to be the move. Just not. I figured it out. I'm figuring it out. I don't have a good answer for you. I'm figuring it out. That's what I got. Hey boo. So with that, I'm gonna close out. Thank you for being here. Remember that your boundaries are important. Anything that you accept, you have to commit to, right? Anything that you accept, anything that you allow, that's where your boundaries actually lie. So make that decision. You have full control over it. And that's how I feel. Yes. And so I didn't say that because I want to talk to you first, but there might be a cruise coming along. We gotta chat. It's a lot of stuff. Hi. Alrighty. So I'm out of here. If you need me, you are going to thickthighyoga.com. You're going to click up here right in the corner. Everything I do is at thickthighyoga.com, whether that's yoga, that's retreats, that is the journals. You can find those there. You can find everything, the bathing suits, all of it. I want you there. I want to work with you. I want to talk to you. And yeah, that's really it. I love you all so greatly. Thank you so much for checking in and talking to me about boundaries. And there will always be more. The replays of this are available on YouTube. So any of them that you want to see, if you want